Your
winner in a unanimous decision in the blue corner, Jesus the Beast Lopez. This is your main card in the blue corner. Marchek, the Karate Kid, Turchek. In the red corner, Bruno, the Tiger, Souza!
This is an extremely even fight on paper here.
Into the pin! Winner in a unanimous decision in the red corner, Bruno, the Tiger, Souza! In the blue corner, El Haji, the Black Magic, Endor.
To push and to endure. I was talking to the audience here.
In the red corner, a drop, the Wolf, Ocean. They stick around, look out. They drop the Wolf, Ocean.
Oh, wow. So I was wrong. I thought it was the third round, but it was the second round.
It was the blue corner, Raymond, the real deal, Daniel. Franklin,
Wow.
the Bullet, Mina.
So the man who
Fighters enter the pit. In a unanimous decision in the blue corner, Raymond, the real deal, Daniel.
so the win
Is your main event, your super fight, champion versus champion. In the blue corner, let's all go to church. Josh, the preacher, Quayhagen.
this is your welterweight champ.
In the corner, the lightweight champion of the world, Luis, the Pitbull, Rocha. Fighters, enter the pit. In a majority decision, in the red corner, Luis, the Pitbull, Rocha. Corner, Kevin, K-Swift, Kowalczyk. Red corner, Divas, the Rage Ferreira. Fighters, enter the pit. Unanimous decision. In the red corner, Divas, the Rage Ferreira. The blue corner, Jonathan, the Young Blood Bro.
Dennis Kang.
Gabriel, the toughest animal, Sarah.
Is that the Wolverine, the toughest animal? It's got to be, right?
Very interesting to see what his approach is to this bout tonight.
Rock and roll.
Get our official decision.
Unanimous decision in the red corner. Gabriel, the toughest animal, Sarah.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Web on 1252 Sports. The over-under. I'm your host, Harry the Greek. It's a really good Friday night. What else are you going to do other than trying to get the best picks for the weekend to make some extra cash? Tonight's show, we're going to have live from the Sports Web, Mr. Peter Blake, and, of course, one of the two giant goofballs, Mr. Andrew Davis. I did say Davis, right? Because, my mind's like spinning 100 different ways to Sunday sometimes. Always open phone lines. We're going to be using Peter Blake's phone this evening. It's 727-255-0391. That's 727-255-0391. What did you guys think of the first week of the playoffs? Wild card weekend. Was it wild, Tampa fans? I'm really sorry. But what else did you expect? Honestly, to go out there and win another Super Bowl going into the playoffs, a game under 500, I was kind of hoping, but I think most of us actually knew what the reality was going to be. We made excuses saying, wow, the offensive line is the healthiest it's going to be. We're going to break that game down a little bit. We're not going to spend too much time on that because we have to talk about the things that matter right now in the National Football League, and those are the teams that are still into the playoffs, because this is what the show is about. It's not about representing your favorite team and wanting to talk about it the whole time. It's about what we can do to make some money. We're going to talk about the Giants. Do they still have enough to get it done over in Philly? Do the Jaguars have enough magic to go ahead and do what they did to Kansas City? How about Dallas and Dak and the boys? Are they good enough against that stud? Huh? Honestly? Anybody Brock Purdy fans? I'm not. And last but not least, what other game are we forgetting about? Oh, yeah, the rematch. Cincinnati and Buffalo. Who do you guys like in those games? We're going to go ahead and bring our guest on right now because I want to get right to it. We're going to read your comments live on the air. If you have a question or comment, make sure you do call. But I will tell you this. You better bring it tonight because there's going to be zero nonsense that I'm going to take this evening because I am not in the mood. I didn't have the best of weeks. Never should have lost that Charger game. Not in a million years should I have lost that Charger game. But, folks, you did get my second best bet. You didn't take the Giants with the points because I told everybody they would beat the Vikings. Sorry, Viking fans. You just weren't really that good this year. Kirk Cousins, you better start looking for a quarterback. Dalvin Cook looks a step slower. But I'll tell you what, that offense still looks pretty damn good. Wait a minute. That's not what wins championships. You got to run the football and play some defense. Next off, coming off the turnbuckle, live from the Sports Web himself, Mr. Peter Blake. Peter, how are you, buddy?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Happy Friday night.
It is happy Friday night, buddy. I'm ready to make some money. I know we had a pretty decent weekend. I can't believe what happened to me in that game, for the Chargers. And I believe me, I know Jacob Charnow is absolutely salivating. I'm telling you, they're going to beat them. Let me tell you something. You line those two teams up again 2 more times, and I promise you the Chargers still beat Jacksonville.
No, you know why? Because they can't stop anybody. And again, that's the formula for playoff football. Playoffs! Stop somebody. The Vikings couldn't all year long. And the Chargers couldn't either in that game. And look, 27-0. I still can't believe Jacksonville came back. I mean, that display the first half from Trevor Lawrence, 4 interceptions, and you
still win the football game.
Yes, it was back and forth on this, and I was like, you're right, you're right. Yes.
When I say that game was goofy, I mean it was goofy. It was.
Oh, yeah.
When I say goofy, I got to bring in the goofball himself. What am I talking about? Mr. Andrew Davis. Andrew, how are you?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I mean, just kind of chilling out there. I guess you had a pretty good day at work, I think, today, didn't you?
It was all right. It was a grand day at work.
It was a grand day at work. For everybody that does, maybe we can plug that a little bit later. Guys, before we start talking about everything, I'm going to go ahead and read some of the comments. Make sure someone calls into that phone line tonight because we definitely want to talk about it. You have a question or comment, make sure you call. I'm going to give you the picks, and I can break it down and give you. You might be surprised on some of these picks I'm going to give tonight, by the way. Wow. Roger Shue says first. Roger,
acknowledge me.
Let's have a great show, guys. We try. Roger also says, play the funk, Pete.
This guy sucks.
And
He means the
Roger says,
Scooby-Doo
go
funk.
Jags. Oh, yeah.
Yes! Yes!
Did you say Scooby-Doo?
Where are you? We got some work to do now.
Come on, Velma, to the stage.
Where are you?
Oh, God. Roger Shoe says, screw Gertrude, Mildred, and Ethel.
Yes, I
Yes! Yes!
agree. Because we work the same job, and I feel like I should say the same thing. In fact, if Gertrude, Ethel, Esther called in right now, I would do this
Shitter!
and hang up on them.
Tell me about it. Mike Stover says, is this Kumite 2.0?
No, that was
Pete?
actually Karate Combats 35, and I was the PA announcer. That was the one that was doing all the announcing.
Kumite.
You know, I got to be honest with you. It's
Yeah.
Kumite, not Kumite. It's Kumite. Jesus, Kumite. I don't know nothing about that.
Kumite.
That's like worse.
Oh,
That's
Bloodsport
almost
here.
worse than
Come on.
wrestling, buddy. It's worse than wrestling to me. Give me a break.
Stop it. It was great. It was a great event
what
to be a
fun-
part
Oh,
of.
I'm
Jim
sure it
movie?
was. Here.
It's
That was
spectacular
great.
movie.
Thank God I have the sports web to make me forget about
Flawless
work.
victory.
Yes.
Roger Shoe says, hi, Greek. Opa to you.
Opa!
Mike Stover says, no, it was disappointing.
Opa!
It was absolutely disappointing when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I don't know. I mean, when you throw the ball 66 times and only run it 12, what do you expect? We told you here on the over-under / sports web, if they weren't balanced the other night, that they would definitely get their doors blown out, and that's exactly what they did.
Yep. And Mike Stover says, I hope the Jags can pull off the upset. They might. Oh, my God. Here, Andrew, I'm going to let you do it. Okay, go ahead. Put it up. Put it up, Andrew.
It's the victory
Let's
gnome.
see.
It's the victory gnome. I gotta. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's the victory
I
gnome.
mean, look.
You know what?
Victory.
If you look,
They actually
Andrew,
showed up.
honestly, if you had that little beanie on your head, you'd look like that gnome.
This guy sucks.
I don't have a beard.
That's true. Roger
I
Shoe.
think at my height, people
Jags,
think he's a.
take the Jags and the boys in Buffalo, and you're getting the bag.
You think so?
I think he's going to barf in that bag, but that's okay. Rob Donnelly says, go G-Men. Hey, there's the second group call.
There he is.
What's happening, Rob? How's everything going up there in New Jersey?
Joyce.
Yes!
Mike Stover says 49ers are going to steamroll the Cowboys. That could possibly be. And last but not least, the second love of my life, live from Advanced Auto Parts for all your Advanced Auto Parts needs. It's Advanced Auto Parts. Miss Teresa Wallace. Hey, Greek. Nice bear shirt. Teresa knows all about that song.
Yo, she's a big time Bears fan. I know that's. I played it in favor of her for Bears fans out there to be excited about their number 1 overall pick. Roger Shoe, you, Teresa.
Oh,
Travis
we're gonna,
Henry.
Peter. We're gonna talk
The
about that
eventual
number
trade.
1 overall pick. Do you know what everybody kept saying, and I was saying, you know, they're gonna trade back with Indy. They're gonna get the farm. Hey, you know what? They're gonna get it from this team. They're gonna get it from that team.
Yeah.
Do you know who they're gonna get it from? The team that gave it to them. They're going to get it from Houston. What do you guys want to bet that the Bears bring in a farm for that pick for just one spot?
Mhm.
And Houston's going to do it.
It depends on if Bryce Young comes out and does what a lot of quarterbacks do that are going to be picked number 1. They impress. They go with personal workouts or combine, and they just make that workout unbelievable at the end of the day. And they could actually do it twice here. I saw a mock where the Bears not only trade down to Houston spot at number 2, but also Indianapolis spot at number 4. You can pick up all those picks and still get a player like Will Anderson out of Alabama. That would be smart.
I still think the young man from Georgia is going to be available at number 4 because I'm telling you right now, if the Bears go from 1 to 2 and 2 to 4, and they pick up all those draft picks, that means all top 3 picks are going to be the quarterbacks.
Sure.
Alabama, Ohio State, Kentucky. And here's a prediction. The young man from Kentucky, I keep forgetting his name.
Will
I
Levis.
watched him play. He's the best quarterback in this draft. And by the time it's all said and done, he's going to be the top quarterback in this draft. What do you want to bet? Oh, yeah, he's that good. That kid's
There's already
that good.
rumors that the Colts that's who they want is Levis, point blank, no matter what.
Well, because the Colts are such a great judge of talent, so.
I mean, in all fairness, maybe not drafting quarterbacks, but they haven't really drafted a high-ranking one.
They haven't
since
had
Andrew
a bad.
Luck.
That's not fair. How about Andrew
They've been
Luck?
drafting
Who
well
was that?
overall.
Well,
He was a
Andrew
hell
Luck,
of a
but then
quarterback.
after that, what did they do? It's been a complete debacle. I mean, what'd you have? Fat-ass Jacoby Brissett. Yes, you got him. You got the
Brissett.
greatness of Philip Rivers, right? You had the greatness of Carson Wentz. You have the greatness of Matt Ryan. I mean, the quarterback situation has not worked out in their favor. So hopefully,
But
it
why they
wasn't
tanked
someone
this year,
that they
though. This is
drafted.
why they tanked.
right. And then, oh, by the way, they were interviewing Jeff Saturday today. I mean, why are you interviewing this man for a coaching job with the job that he did this year? I mean, interview somebody different. Goodness gracious.
Because he had a job. His job was to tank. His job, and he did it very well. So the Colts are going to at least give him an interview to help his image and then move on. But I'll give you this, Harry. You might like this one here. So I did a mock draft actually on PFN. And not that this is a legit thing, obviously, but I traded back with the Texans. I got the 2nd pick, the 12th pick, the 33rd pick, and both their first-round picks next year from both theirs and the one from Cleveland.
Wow.
That's a pretty damn impressive pickup if you can get that.
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah, but hypothecating, I'd rather kiss my sister. I can only wish, but I never hypothecate. I'm just going to be honest with you.
We're not in that part of Florida. We're not in that part of Florida. You were a little higher up.
Boy, let me tell you something. What you mean? I tell you what, and I know for a fact, my man, Mr. Gary Ivick, he's probably watching tonight. And whenever Gary calls in to that phone number, I want to talk about that Philadelphia game because this is the game that I want to feature a little bit tonight because I could go either way in this game. In football, just let's clarify that, okay? But in that game, I literally could go either way. Gary, my brother, you need to call into that phone line. Dial 727-255-0391. That's 727-255-0391. But until he calls so we can talk about it, let's talk about something disappointing. Since we were already talking about how Indianapolis can't draft a quarterback, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that couldn't beat the Dallas Cowboys. A game under 500. Peter, nothing personal.
Yeah.
Did you think the entire week that this team truly was just going to beat Dallas? Or did you have your reservations, or did you try to buy in like everybody else did?
No, I mean, I was trying to buy into, but at the end of the day, I mean, if this offense came out and did what they did on Monday night, was I surprised by it? No, because this is what they've been doing all year long. Slow starts. I will tell you this, the first 2 drives there, the defense was up for it and looked like Dak Prescott was going to have another disappointing night. But then after that, the momentum kind of swung where the Bucs are going down with a drive of 70 yards. You get down into the red zone, and the furthest thing from your mind that you're thinking is going to happen, of course, does happen, and that's been the year for Tom Brady. He throws his first red zone interception, which is basically a 14-point swing because the Bucs at that point could have got back in the game, scored a touchdown, or at least a field goal. If you score a touchdown, it's 7-6, of course, because Suckup can kick extra points. Brent Mayer couldn't do that the other night. Money Mayer was broke. So that was definitely the game for me. And then at that point, the urgency for this team, it takes them so long to get back into it. They're down 24-0. And now it's time to go hurry up. So am I shocked by it? Absolutely not. Because
Peter, they were playing hurry up from the first snap.
Nah, they weren't playing hurry up.
Oh, come on, man. You and I talked about it in the first half, and I said this team is not out of the game. They just need to pound the rock. But what was the big glaring thing that you and I were talking about watching that game, especially in the first half? And I said, Dallas's defense is not doing anything extraordinary, and they're daring the Buccaneers to run the football.
And they
ran such a shell. They ran 2 high safeties. They were running them 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. Yep. They never brought the safeties in the box. They said, you want to pass the ball? We're not letting you go deep. You're going to keep it in front of us. And when you do get it at 20, hang on. if you get it to the 20, you're not getting in.
Well, we got a call. Let's go out to the phone lines here. Let's go out to the tribal troll from Newport Richie.
Acknowledge me.
Chicago's own Mr. Roger Shue. Go ahead, Roger.
All right, Peter.
Hi, Roger.
Back before this season. Hey, Greek.
Hey,
I love you, Peter. Drew, what's going on, brother?
Yes.
All right,
go ahead,
Peter.
Roger.
Remember back before the start of the season, I told you the Bucs are going to be 8-9, and if they made the playoffs, it'd be one and done. And you told me no. I was crazy. They're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I think
Would
anybody
you like to retract your statement?
No, I don't.
No, I wouldn't want him to retract it either because I'm going to be honest with you, Roger. In the beginning of the season, I had the Buccaneers winning 14 games that year until Tom Brady decided to take 2 weeks off, until the offensive line became completely decimated, and then I wanted to go ahead and eat crow, to be honest with you. But there's another thing I'll tell you, Roger. I was wrong, and I'd like to take it back. In the beginning part of the season, I said that the Cincinnati Bengals were an extremely overrated football team. Let me go ahead and get that clear. Okay, yep. And this team is now peeled off 9 in a row. I got to bring a comment up here because this is my boy live from the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, Mr. Terrence R. Nichols. What's up, Terrence? Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into the Over Under, little brother. Make sure you share that to your platform. Maybe it's a little bit of love for the Greek. I mean, come on, man. I'm sporting the C, #1 draft picks. I tell you what.
All right, that's all you get.
Let me tell you something a little about Terrence. Hold on, Roger. Terrence goes to every single home game. Win, lose, draw, 20, 30 degrees below zero. Trust me, he tried to sell the shit, okay? He did. When it was 15 below, believe me, he was all over the place. Anybody want to buy these tickets? But you know what? He still went to the game. That's a true fan.
Yes.
That's a true fan.
Absolutely. So go back to your statement. I mean, Tom Brady comes out of retirement, says unfinished business, and you think that I thought they were going to be an 8 or 9 win team? No, not absolutely. They underachieved. That's why the majority of this offensive coaching staff was fired yesterday and 2 defensive assistants because they underachieved so badly. And I tell you right now, they're going to try to recruit Tom Brady back by possibly getting a Bill O'Brien or another offensive coordinator that can come in here if Brady is still interested in this team. And I think he is still interested in this team. And, at the end of the day, does it fall on Tom Brady to a certain degree? Yes. Does it fall on coaching? Yes. Does it fall on the offensive line? Absolutely. Play calling, it's just a mix of absolute. That was 2022 and a microcosm.
But what you didn't hear, and seriously, this is news all over Chicago. Terrence, I know you'll go ahead and verify this one, that Matt Nagy is a leading candidate to come into Tampa Bay to be the – I can't even do it with a straight face. I tried.
Stop. You better stop right now.
And you know who's following Matt Nagy? He's the OC. As the OC in Tampa for you, Peter, they're going to bring in John Fox for you to go ahead and run that defense.
They may need to hire another defensive coordinator.
Or is that legit, Harry?
Oh, I tried to make it legit, man. I tried to make it legit. But I'll tell you what, right now, I would laugh my ass off if Matt Nagy ever got a head coaching job or even an OC job. I don't know how in the world that guy is even employed. But the better question is this, Roger, I know you're on the line, and Andrew, I want you to answer this because I don't want Pete to have any part of this. Where's Byron Leftwich going?
He's going home
anywhere but near Tampa, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God!
You got to see what happens here. But I think he's with all the different coordinator positions that are going to be out there available once these head coaching positions get filled. But I don't see him being an OC after this year. I think pretty much anybody who watched the Bucs game realized that they totally abandoned the run. He had no control over the offense whatsoever. He let Brady run the whole show, and he had no leadership skills whatsoever.
Well, who gives a damn? I mean, they ran it 12 times. They just passed it 66.
Well, here's a breakdown of the
those are pretty good. I would love one time to see Justin Fields in Chicago pass for more attempts than rushing yards. I'm not kidding you. I would.
You might not like it if you saw it.
Yeah.
No, hey. Let me tell you something. That right there is the quarterback of the future for that Chicago Bears team, and you wait what happens when they surround this young man with some talent.
Yeah. Well, break down the numbers again.
We'll see.
The scoring average for the Bucs, their NFL ranks the last 4 seasons with Byron Leftwich. In 2019, 28.6 a game, third in the National Football League. 2020, 30.8, third. 2021, 30.1, second. And 2022, a dismal 18.4 points a game. And then that's the reason why you get fired when you have the likes of Chris Godwin. I get it. He's coming off a knee injury. You got Mike Evans. You got Julio Jones. You got Cade Otton. You got Leonard Fournette. You got Rashard White. And you're still only able to score 18 freaking points a game with the greatest of all time in Tom Brady. It's inexcusable, and that's the reason why heads had to roll yesterday.
That could be. Hey, Troy Polamalu.
That's because Byron Leftwich as an OC is about as useful as
a bull with you know what. Leftwich belongs at a circus. ABD reports that the Munaki Giants are interested.
And speaking of a circus, Troy, you are a clown.
This guy sucks.
Mike Stover says, I think Byron ends up in Pittsburgh.
Every show he's in the chat. Why doesn't he man up and ever call in? Troy, I'm challenging you. Sometime in 2023, call into the show.
Because he can't.
Well, he can.
Bro, that Putz ain't never calling the show. He'll never even show his face. Look, man, I'm Harry the Greek. I approve this message. Yep. Troy, I've offered you a $100 gift card to any steakhouse you want to go. I'll tell you what, I'll up it to $200 if I send you the link, you DM me, and you put your ass on one of my shows so we can talk. You got to stop this, man. You really got to stop this.
Yeah, he's Chicago's own Bozo the Clown. That's who he is.
Chicago's Bozo the Clown. That's a pretty good one. All right, guys.
Hey, Drew, real quick, man, I want to tell you, God bless your Giants. Yeah. I'm rooting for them, but unfortunately, I had to go with my brain. I put my money on the Eagles.
Well, that always goes well.
Always got to bet with your mind, not with your heart, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, the G-Men, they've had an awesome season. I hope they pull this off, but I don't know, man.
Well, guess what, guys? We're going to start with the first game.
Later on, but I'll say this. It's interesting.
We're going to start with the first game. Jacksonville's at Kansas City.
Thanks a lot, Roger.
This line keeps increasing every minute by minute. A lot of money was going on Jacksonville. Kansas City's now favored by 9.5, and the total's 52.5. 52.5. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you again, Jacksonville never should have beat Tennessee to close out that year. Okay? Let's clarify that. That defense won the game at the end of the game. Then he throws 4 picks against the Chargers. Was I wrong? I have to tell people I was wrong because that was my game of the week. I thought San Diego was going to cover it and beat them. In the first half, I'm sitting on the chair and I'm eating bonbons and drinking champagne. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
I'm counting my money. I'm counting the stacks. And the next thing I know, I'm like making it rain to somebody else. It wasn't coming here, buddy, because I wasn't getting rained on. That was a bad game. But thank God for the Giants beating up on Minnesota. My question, guys, did the Jaguars have enough magic to pull off the upset, let alone even cover the 9 points? Andrew, I am going to start with you. I'm dying to know this. What do you think of this game and why?
Yeah, I mean, so the big question is, do we get the Jaguars of the first half? Do we get the Jaguars of the second half? And chances are it's somewhere in between the two. So I do think the Chiefs will win it, but I actually do pick the Jags to cover the spread because the Chiefs don't have a tendency to absolutely just blow out and destroy teams. Even they would actually do that with this closer than you expect. So I think the spread pick there. I think the Jags would go all day long like that. I do think over on the points as well because I think this will be a high scoring game. The Chiefs actually have an amazing defense.
It's 52.5, man. Kansas City can't stop a cold. Jacksonville can play defense, but man, this is Patrick Mahomes they're playing. Okay, this isn't a joke. They're not facing. I mean, they didn't face Mike Williams last week. And I'll tell you what, the Chargers defense didn't play that bad in the first half. I thought they played extraordinary. I don't know what happened in the second half. But hey, Chargers, thank you for the draft pick. We love you in Chicago. Peter?
Yes. Well, I think Jacksonville can keep it close in the first half. They are a young team. They're well coached by Doug Peterson, which is the reason why I picked them last week. This is totally different. You're going into Arrowhead Stadium with Kansas City. I think eventually Kansas City will run away with this by 10 to 14 points in the second half. I like the over in this game because both defenses, it's optional in this game. So Kansas City, but in the first half, Jacksonville will keep it close.
Wow. You know what? In the first half, since people really, really want to know, that point spread is Jacksonville's getting 6 point. Peter, I think you're on to something.
Thank you.
And the total is 26.5. I don't know who you like on the over-under, but I will tell you something. Harry the Greek's going to go ahead and give it out. I don't usually do this in the beginning part of it. Take Jacksonville. Let them go ahead and play the Magic. I know I was pissing on y'all's parade when I was telling you this team got lucky, but they did. But who said they can't get lucky 3 games in a row? Because you know what? My motto has always been what, guys? I'd rather what? Come on. Come on. I know you can say it. I'd rather be lucky than good any day of the week. And right now, the Jaguars have a little bit of that momentum. You know what? Sometimes taking a week off can hurt you a little bit. Jacksonville's still pretty damn healthy. They're going to be able to run that football. And Trevor Lawrence, he don't look scared like he did in that first half of that game. He come out and he's playing with some confidence right now. I'm not sure that Jacksonville is going to beat them. I'm just telling you, I think they're covering the points. Good observation, Peter, especially when you said something about the second half, because that's actually a pretty damn good pick on that. The next game I want to talk about are the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Gary, I don't know why you ain't calling, brother. I have no idea, but I'd love to get some insight with Philadelphia because Philadelphia is giving 8 points. That game started at 6. It's been as high as 9, dropped to 7. It's back to 8, and the total is 48 points. Peter.
Yeah,
who do you like here and why?
I mean, I like the Eagles in this game, but again, it's going to be a lot closer than people think. The Giants play good defense. Daniel Jones played out of his mind last week with 300 yards, rushing the ball, precision. Can they do that versus Philadelphia? They're going to have to do that versus Philadelphia. I still think it's going to be close because it is a division rival, but I like the Eagles to win this game.
Andrew.
Yeah, I think you're seeing the line change because we're hearing more and more about how good Jalen Hurts is looking and how healthy he is right now, and that's a game changer for how this is going to go for us overall. But I do think the Eagles will win it, though I obviously hope I'm wrong on that one there. I do think the Giants will cover the spread. I'm interested to see what Daniel Jones is going to do in this game. The Giants have scored over 30 points 2 of the last 3 games, but they did against the Colts and the Vikings. Not exactly great defenses, so...
Harry the Greek's going to tell you one thing about this game, and I'm going to go ahead and break down a few things for you and a few players. For the Philadelphia Eagles, you cannot have that significant amount of time off when you had an injury and be that effective, especially to a very mobile quarterback. The difference maker in this game is going to be on the New York Giants side of the ball with Adoree Jackson. Okay, Adoree Jackson is going to be a difference maker in this game. Let me keep repeating it. Jackson will be a difference maker in this game. And you know who the biggest difference maker is going to be in this game? Is one quarterback for the New York Giants. I am predicting 3 touchdowns in the air in this game. This was the ultimate smokescreen for the entire season about a team that people said could not pass the football. They are lighting it up right now, son. Trust me. Philadelphia is not as good as what people see, especially defensively. This line is 8 points. Hope it goes to 10 because Harry the Greek's always told people the price makes up for the pick. I'm sorry, Gary. I know Philadelphia is your team, but I'm telling you right now, it's really easy to take the sexy pick. If you're a chicken, you take the Giants and you take them with the points. If you got a sack between your legs, you take the Giants on the money line this week because you're going to end up getting 2.5, almost 3 to 1 on your money. This team just got done beating a team with a much, not a little better, a much better offense than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that was the Minnesota Vikings. Look out for that Giants defense. They're playing a lot better. And Mr. Danny Jones, I don't know what you did, Mr. Dayball, but you sure played possum the entire season because you're going to run the ball with some effectiveness. And Saquon Barkley is going to be pretty involved in this game, but you better watch out for this passing game that nobody in football is talking about. This is going to be the surprise game of the week. This is the upset special, and that's why I'm 32-7 this year on point spreads for underdogs that are more than 8 points. You heard it, 32-7. Take it, trust it, bet it. That's my game of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Love it.
There you
Love
go.
it. And I got to back you up on the Adoree Jackson thing. So he actually covered Justin Jefferson 85% of his routes last week. On those plays, 6 catches, 37 yards. That guy's a beast, and having him back is huge. He wasn't there to cover A.J. Brown in that first blowout game the Giants had. Also, they were missing Xavier McKinney, their star safety as well, who's also back.
No, I get it. And I'm not trying, and I didn't want to steal Andrew's thunder because it's obvious he's a huge New York Giant fan, okay? But I'm telling you from an outsider's perspective, looking into the game, look, man, this game is going to be a lot tighter than you think. I'm telling you, the New York Giants offense, you're going to be super surprised. It's not going to be Barkley left, Barkley up the middle, Barkley to the right. It's going to be a lot of, hey, Barkley, gotcha, and throwing the ball downfield. You're going to be surprised. You're going to see a lot of play action in this game.
I see like a 24-21 game Philadelphia. But again, I think the Giants keep it close. But you're exactly right. Right now, you talk about the momentum is definitely on the Giants side. And Daniel Jones, the way
Philadelphia has zero clue right now. Zero clue to understand what they're going to get with this New York Giant team. Plus, it's a divisional game. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. What I've been telling you about those divisional games, you can't give those kind of points up. I don't care if you're playing the last place team versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Look what Washington was doing to them. They kept everything close. These are 2 playoff teams with a team that's that's right. And these are 2 playoff teams.
Playoffs.
And one definitely has the momentum. Mike Stover says, I think Byron ends up in Pittsburgh. We read that. I would give KC a 14-point spread. I get it. Kansas City is the superior team. Jacksonville just so happens to have a horseshoe stuck up their ass right now. Tom Banner says, Harold. What's up, Tom? Hope everything's going good for you up in that nice climate, global warming, whatever you call it up there in Wisconsin. Is it sub-zero still? I don't think so. I think you guys are kind of enjoying it. Troy Palomalu says, do you guys think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes
This guy sucks.
will make it to the Super Bowl? Mike Stover says, Giants are surging. Absolutely correct. Troy Palomalu says, you guys are watching the Sports Web.
Yes!
And Mike Stover says, I have the Giants 31-17. That's a pretty ballsy pick, man. I don't have them winning by that much. I got them winning by a last-second field goal. That's why it's going to be a lot tighter than what you're saying. But you know what? They can win by 30. They can win by 3. It doesn't make a difference because next week, what is it? It's an L or a W. It's one of the 2.
You're right.
Let's go on to the next game, gentlemen.
And I'll tell you, this is setting up potentially for the Giants' dream. I say setting up potentially for the Giants' dream. If we could take out the Eagles, the Giants, and then the next week have the chance to potentially take out the Cowboys if they beat the 49ers, that's like a Giant fan's dream to beat those 2 Super Bowl.
Yep. All right. Next on the list, Cincinnati Bengals, a remake. It's a rematch, baby, against Buffalo. I don't know. Before DeMar Hamlin, thank God he's all right. Don't think he's ever going to play football again. It's just praising God that the man's even able to walk, let alone talk and have all his functions.
Thank God he's alive, right? I mean, that's...
But seriously.
I'm going to tell you what I seen in that last game. I seen Cincinnati handing Buffalo their... Bro, let me tell you something. Buffalo did not look good against Cincinnati. They had that one little drive in Cincinnati was just smacking them around. And you know what? That game's 5.5-point favorites right now. And the total is 49. Peter,
yes.
Who do you like and why in that game?
I like the over, and I like the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'll tell you why. Because, yes, I think they're a lot better team than they were last year. That team made it to the Super Bowl. They're on a mission this year. They played well after a slow start. Furthermore, you said it best, Harry the Greek, at the beginning of the year. Are you concerned about Josh Allen and the turnover situation? Absolutely, I am, because he turned the ball over last week a couple times. And then on top of it, that defense is completely different without Von Miller. I like the Cincinnati Bengals and the over.
Andrew.
Yeah, I'm with Peter on the over being the pick to go for there just because of how good both offenses are. I do also think that the Bengals, though, will win this out. I mean, look at what happened last week. The Bills had trouble beating the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson. That was a much closer game than I think any of us thought it was going to be. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and then you got Joe Burrow coming in. Nope.
Look, man, and that's because they didn't really have too much tape on Skyler. But let's be real, okay? And Skyler's playing.
You shouldn't need it.
Absolutely. It was. I understand that, but it's hard to beat a quarterback like that. It really is. I mean, he's still an NFL quarterback. He played very well, and I'll tell you what. The supporting cast around the Dolphins in that game really played out their ear roll. I mean, they really, really played above their means. But with that being said, I like Cincinnati in the game, but that's not my pick. My pick is the over in this game. No one ever said you had to take a side. If you push me in the corner, I'm going to take Cincinnati in the points and play the over. I mean, come on, guys. Eventually, one of these underdogs that's not the underdogs. One of these favorites are just going to end up covering. You just can't constantly just keep picking underdogs. Can you? Yes. But the likelihood, probably not. It's very hard to beat Vegas. Move on to the next game, or you guys want to talk about that a little bit more?
No, I mean, I think that's what the game everybody wants to see at the end of the day. I mean, you're still waited with bated breath 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football to see both of those teams play. They both have explosive offenses. You have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. And then on the other side, you have Joe Burrow and, of course, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon. So if you want to see some offensive football with, once again, defense being optional, this is the game for you.
Okay. Well, I got a question for everybody here. Why is the Dallas Cowboys only getting 4 points? Why are they even getting 4 points? Hold on. Wait a minute. San Francisco that big? I mean, that good? Rookie quarterback, great zone blocking scheme, a defense that's playing, they're okay. They're not playing like a top-rated defense. I'm sorry. Did you guys watch this last game? If it wasn't for one play, I think Seattle turns around and gives them even a bigger game. That game shouldn't have been a blowout. Hey, guys, give me a reason why Dallas doesn't win this game. I want to hear that, and then you can tell me who you like. They're getting 4 points, and the total's 46.5. Andrew, tell me why Dallas can't win this game.
Well, I'll give you 2 reasons even why I think Dallas can't win this game. So the first one being that Dak Prescott obviously is Dak Prescott. Likes to throw interceptions like crazy. Great defense for San Francisco. Turnovers are typically a difference in a playoff game. The second thing is I actually believe in Brock Purdy a lot more than the rest of the guys here, I think.
Mm-hmm. Peter?
Yeah, San Francisco is the most complete team in the NFC right now. They're playing at all phases of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. And at the end of the day, this defense is not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which means they're going to get after Dak Prescott. And when you get after Dak Prescott and you cause that pressure, and like I said on the halftime show last week, you apply pressure like the kids say on TikTok all the time, then that's when you have Dak Prescott throwing interceptions. That's why I like San Francisco in this game.
Dallas. Why does Dallas win this game, though? How does Dallas win this game, Andrew?
I mean, to me, the only way they win this game basically is stopping Brock Purdy, which no one's had the chance to do so far yet, really. But in the end, he still is a very young, quarterback, not a lot of experience, and they do have some good players on defense. So if you can get to him, which obviously, Dallas does have a pretty good pass rush there, make the guys stumble a little bit. Now all of a sudden, Dallas has a shot.
Peter, how does Dallas beat San Francisco?
Become balanced. They got to run the ball, take the pressure off of a Dak Prescott. And then furthermore, Micah Parsons, if he has a Lawrence Taylor type of effort where he's everywhere and he's causing havoc in that backfield for not only Christian McCaffrey, but also Brock Purdy, then yes, Dallas has a chance to win this game.
Well, let me tell you my insight, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not always correct, just only most of the time. Just ask Ray Kennedy. He always agrees with me.
Well, speaking of Ray Kennedy.
Yes, sir.
He's actually calling the phone line. Let's
Perfect.
Go from Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best in
the
Bay.
There he is.
Your Sports Web over-under edition on a Friday night.
Fellas, I'll tell you how Dallas beats the San Francisco 49ers. If Micah Parsons has the game of his career, but Dallas linebackers and secondary are still able to cut off not only the zone blocking on the 49ers offensive line, but those intermediate passes. Because, let's be honest. Shoot for the moon here. We have not seen Brock Purdy get shaken up yet, and Micah Parsons is all about trying to shake him up. If he can shake him up tomorrow, then Dallas has a shot in this game. I truly believe it.
Okay. And Ray, how does San Francisco win this game?
Well, unlike the Buccaneers, the San Francisco 49ers are going to run the ball. And running the ball is going to have success against this Dallas defense like the Bucs had in the first game of the year when they actually ran the ball for 130 yards with Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, he's exactly right. I mean, you could put the matchup on Christian McCaffrey, and the scary thing is not only are you going to run him out of the backfield, but you're also going to run him into those flats. You're going to run him on those wheel routes and challenge those linebackers and that defensive personnel, which Tampa Bay wasn't able to do. But you can do that with McCaffrey. That's the great thing about it. He's a 3-down back. He can pass protect. He can catch out of the backfield consistently. He has patience and vision, and he doesn't put the ball on the ground. He's scary, and he's the reason why, or that's the reason why John Lynch and the 49ers traded for him in the first place, because they feel like he is the key to that offense, the final key for them to unlock Super Bowl 57.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a little suggestion. And first off, I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be able to keep the same horseshoe stuck in his ass, because I think they gave it to Trevor Lawrence last week. Okay, okay. Let me be real here. Okay, look, Brock Purdy is playing really good football for a particular system that's working very well for him. Dallas now has a lot of tape on this kid. He's not Tom Brady. He's not the second coming of Christ. He's playing average football, and he's getting very lucky because every team has to respect the running game. This team is going to revolve around two players. That's Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels.
Yep.
Okay. You didn't hear me say George Kittle. You didn't hear me say about the other wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
Okay. Even though they're premier players in this league, they are going to feature two teams. I can promise you one thing. You will not see the same defensive alignment against San Francisco with the Dallas Cowboys as you've seen against the Tampa Bay game, because Dallas decided to play a very soft zone the entire game and said, Tampa, we want you to run the football. Because they knew they were going to pass. Tampa refused to run the football, and they kept everything in front of them. In this game, you're going to see a lot more with those safeties dropping into the box. It's not going to be very easy for Deebo nor Christian McCaffrey to run the football the way they have. This is why this game actually favors the Dallas Cowboys. You have a better quarterback. You have better wide receivers. Let me go ahead and repeat that. Better wide receivers. You have better skill set, not at the tight end position, but defensively, right now, in my opinion, the Cowboys are actually going to play a little better defense than what the 49ers are going to be able to play. They're going to match up better against that offense.
I'll tell you what, Harry, too.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, the DC, Quinn, for the Cowboys, former Falcons coach, is one of the hot commodities being talked about for a future head coaching job. And that's the way the the Cowboys, the way to beat this 49ers team is Quinn's going to have his defense play lights out. And that's going to be the story of the game. If the Cowboys are able to pull this out, it's going to have to be a reignite of the Legion of Boom, and what Quinn did in Seattle so many years ago in that Dallas, because the offense is going to be consistent. I also think, guys, maybe you agree with me here, Peter and Andrew.
Yeah.
I think that Dak's going to have to pull it down and run the ball tomorrow, bring another facet to that offense, get them to play up honest, and then you can start hitting CeeDee Lamb and Schultz across the middle all day long.
I'm not doing that against that line. Kinlaw and Bosa scared the hell out of me, and I feel like they're definitely going to be able to contain that. And you talk about it at the end of the day, Dan Quinn being the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and, of course, Kyle Shanahan at the time before he took the job with the San Francisco 49ers as the offensive coordinator. So a matchup with a matchup, and how is that going to work out? Is Shanahan going to beat the master, or is the master going to beat the pupil?
Well, you know what? I'm going to go back and let's talk about Belichick. Okay, I know he's not in the playoffs. Okay, and I know that neither one of these two coaches. I know for a fact that none of these coaches are Belichick. But when Belichick played against teams that had really high-powered offenses with multiple players that they had to target, he would take the one target that he felt was going to be their main target and remove them completely from the game. And in that situation, it would have been, in my opinion, it would have been Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
Okay? If you eliminated Christian McCaffrey, like I think Dallas is going to have tremendous success against McCaffrey in this game. Okay, because they line up really, really well against this type of offense. then Debo's going to go nuts from the 20 to the 20. And that is where Mr. Brock Purdy will make his mistakes. It's going to be in the red zone. I am not a Brock Purdy fan here yet, guys. He beats this team, and I will anoint him better than Patrick Mahomes.
He does
because
beat this team, and I'll tell you why he beats this team. Because
I will, but he's not. I'm going to go that far because you don't have to be that talented. This man has beaten his first NFL game. He beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You guys want to go down that list? There's tape out on this kid. He cannot make every throw. Let me tell you something. His biggest downfall is throwing out into the flats and the quick outs.
Correct.
He does not have that kind of arm. He can't get air under a ball when he's throwing really deep. He's got to throw it on the line. This is not the quarterback. There's a reason why he was taken as Mr. Irrelevant. Okay. Now I know you don't have to have the strongest arm. This Dallas team will stop if they stop Christian McCaffrey, they beat the San Francisco 49ers because it's going to force Mr. Brock Purdy to beat this team, and he's just not that good.
And for me, I think you use Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Greg Kittle. That's where you come in with the most complete team. And furthermore, I think Kyle Shanahan has been able to scale this playbook down for Purdy, so it looks Purdy on film, if you will.
So wait a minute. So that's what you want to do. You want to break your game plan down to make it vanilla against a Micah Parsons-led defense.
I want to make sure that this quarterback is comfortable, and it certainly seems like Shanahan's offense is doing that for this kid.
Well, guys, I think honestly it has to be a score for Dallas. For Dallas to win this game, it has to be a score fest. I'd bet the over in this game 7 days a week and twice on Super Wild Card playoff weekend, whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, because with CeeDee Lamb and with Schultz and with and Zeke getting off and Dak running it, I mean the Niners are going to score. Shanahan runs an offense that they can do their thing, but Dallas has got to outscore them. And then Micah Parsons and that defense has to have a few big plays. I think that's the recipe for Dallas to have success there tomorrow at Levi Stadium.
I think it's the under. I mean, I think both defenses are pretty good, and especially San Francisco getting after it. I don't necessarily believe in this Dallas offense, and it's two words for me, Dak Prescott. If he can get that type of time that he had versus the Bucs, which I don't think he can, I still think this guy is going to be throwing a couple interceptions in this game.
And I'm going to tell you why he's going to have that time, because San Francisco is going to be playing a lot of man-up type of coverage. They're going to be dropping the safeties in the box because they have to worry about that two-headed monster between Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard in the backfield. And one of their linebackers are always going to have to be covering the tight end when he's crumbing across the flats. That's why I like Dak Prescott in this game, because you're not going to cover all those wide receivers that the Dallas Cowboys have when you're playing man-up coverage. You're not going to be able to get the pressure on Prescott that easily, because that really quick high percent passes are going to continue to move the chains. I'm telling you now, you can look for 3 or 4 passes that are going to be 5 and 10 yards down, and he's going to end up going for 25 or 30. You're going to see a lot of yak by Dallas in this game because of the aggressiveness that San Francisco likes to put forward. Right?
Yeah. No, I like it. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go, Pete.
Andrew,
I'm sorry. Playoffs.
No, I was just going to ask real quick. Playoffs. Harry, how many times have we talked about this in Cowboy games? How do you stop Micah Parsons?
Well, you have to stop Micah Parsons by putting him in the coverage. He really lacks in that department.
And how do you put him in coverage?
You
Christian
have
McCaffrey,
to get a tight
George Kittle.
You have to. It's not so much McCaffrey, because McCaffrey's not going to be. He's not going to be lining up on McCaffrey. He's not going to be lining up against McCaffrey. I'm telling you right now, when I watched what they did against Tampa. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers skill set players are better than what they have, with the exception of the tight end, than what they're going to be facing against San Francisco. And what I watched Micah Parsons do, they were avoiding him having to make coverage against the running backs coming out of the backfield, because they weren't going to do that anyway. But they avoided him covering the tight ends and wide receivers. His main job that entire game was to harass the shit out of Tom Brady that entire game. Whether they were bringing him up the middle, down the left end, down the right end, it didn't make a difference what gap. They never lined them up twice in the same spot on consecutive plays.
And Harry,
that was the difference.
I like that you make that point, because that was the thing with the Bucks. Bucks against Dallas on Monday night was that Dallas. They only have the one defensive back, and they had an injury on the other side. So you thought that if Brady would have held on to the ball, or would have given him enough time to throw it deep, that they would exploit that. And I think that plays right into Dallas's hands. Make Purdy make those throws. Make him make those long throws. Keep everything short and in front of you, stop him, and make him throw those long balls. And that's maybe where Dallas can have some success. Again, Legion of Boom style versus that zone blocking scheme of Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. Peter, you got any rebuttal?
No, not at all.
Mike Stover says Dallas's defense also has to deal with McCaffrey. We were talking about that. Troy Polamalu says Peter said he's willing to date smokers on his profile.
right there.
Plenty of fish profile. Mike Stover says and Debo Samuel. Troy Polamalu says screw Belichick. One day I'll go take a dump on his grave. You're really nice. The second giant goofball up in Jersey says under.
Under. Yeah.
Christopher Cole. Chris, thanks for tuning in today. Hey, guys, sorry I'm late. I just got off the phone. That could have been a really interesting conversation.
Better late
today.
than never.
Christopher's been talking to all them girls.
That's it. Exactly.
Rob Donnelly says, ask, we'll throw more
I think that's Dak.
Dak will throw more interceptions.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Dak,
Here's an interesting comment. Yeah. David Mocher says, I think the 49ers are going to take Parsons out of the game by using running backs and tight ends to chip him. And, if you can run right at Parsons for some reason, he's not that good. That's a great theory. You better know where he's lining up. And if you got Christian McCaffrey trying to stone Micah Parsons, Christian McCaffrey won't play the game very long. Okay, because he's not really good at stoning anybody. He couldn't block you coming in through the line of scrimmage. Give me a break. Tony Pollard, Troy Polamalu says.
How about Elijah
wants to talk about
Mitchell? We haven't talked.
That's true. Hold on. Peter wants to talk about Gronk coming back to the Bucks. What about Elijah Mitchell, Dave?
Well, Gronk is going to be coming back to the Bucks next year. Brady returns.
There you go.
Oh my God! This is like dreamland.
Playing. If he's playing at 24,
it's over.
Why wouldn't he come back to the? Well, if he doesn't play, I get that, but there's no way he's going to tarnish his legacy more by trying to throw a Hail Mary pass with Josh McDaniel in Vegas, or going down to Miami and throwing touchdowns to Waddle. If he does play at 24,
Waddle,
he'll be wearing a throwback uniform in 2023 if he does play a 24th season.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why. And even Colin Cowherd of Fox Sports touched on this yesterday, that this is a public plea by the Bucs organization to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And if Brady has input, which he has had, and the majority of the decisions that he's been with this franchise, and I see him coming back, because I'm not sure if there's an organization out there that's going to give him all that input and all that power that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have given him throughout these years.
And just think about it.
Talking about him.
Well, if you're Bill O'Brien, sure, going back to play under, the Jedi Master and Belichick might sound sweet and all, but really, if you got one shot to come here and the Bucks can make him happy and bring Bill O'Brien in just because he's done it the Patriot way with Tom Brady at quarterback, and you bring him in as OC for a year. And I know we had that problem this last year between Leftwich and Bowles, but I mean, if they're going to have this separation of church and state, get someone Tom's comfortable with, let him come back for 24, get some more depth on the offensive line, and you have another run for it, because the NFC South is still a division right for the taking.
Exactly, and that's the point. I mean, if you go to the AFC West with the Raiders, you still have to deal with Kansas City. You still have to deal with the Chargers. You still have to deal with the Broncos. So that's a tough division. And furthermore, there's a lot of quarterbacks in there. You look at the NFC South, you got Carolina. Okay, what are they doing? New Orleans, do they have a quarterback? And then the Atlanta Falcons, do they have a quarterback?
No, but can you do me a favor, Pete?
What's up?
Can you just play the How About Them Bucks Baby from Byron Leftwich one last time so I never have to hear it again in my entire life?
We're still going to keep that sound effect.
Oh, no,
he's going to keep it in the repertoire.
I wanted to say, how about that unemployment line, baby?
Hey,
how about them Bucks, baby?
Hold on.
What's up, Ray? Yes, Ray.
Brady cannot tarnish.
Is your back door unlocked?
Mine?
Yeah. Can I come in and say hi?
Whoa.
Oh, geez.
Actually, hold on, Pete. I mean, hold on, Ray. Stand by.
There you go.
Race that show.
All right, there you go.
So, look at it. What I'm going to say is, I don't think anything that Brady does tarnishes his legacy at this point. The man's got 6 rings. He's fine. The second thing is, if Giselle can't keep this man happy, you guys have no shot.
Well, he's got seven rings now, and he got one of those with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And look, they still have their core group at the end of the day. We'll see what happens with them and what type of decision they make. But I feel like if Bill O'Brien is the offensive coordinator of this team going forward, which, by the way, they nearly hired him last year when Leftwich was going to Jacksonville.
Playoffs,
I certainly think there's a possibility that Brady returns.
Yeah, and, I didn't want to. Legends. I didn't want to. So I didn't want to buy into the whole thing with this will be the place where Tom comes back. And I'm not. I just honestly think that Tom cannot step right into the booth and try to take that job from Greg Olson. It may happen, but man, Olson's been locking it down, and Tom, he's got to be feeling that heat if he tries to step into that Fox booth at $37.5 million a year. And if he is, if he's free now and he decides he wants to play one more season, I honestly think all things being equal, Tampa Bay is the place he plays. Now, I'm not saying he does play a 24th season, but if he does, we can talk about the Raiders. We can talk about the Dolphins. We can talk about any other team that might get quarterback away. I don't think that he takes that chance of tarnishing his reputation even more so. Go with Devontae Adams and play go back to New England and play with Belichick. The Buccaneers are willing to give him everything he needs, and we don't have to mortgage the entire future just to give him that. We can give him what we've already been trying to give him, and just figure out their running game to go
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct about that. And again, there's a chance for Gronk to return. There's a chance for you to kind of retool. And I think it goes back to Todd Bowles' comments this week. We're not rebuilding. We are reloading. Easy for me to say. And I couldn't believe those comments. And then the firing of all these offensive coaches this week. So to me, they're not looking to rebuild. I don't think they're looking to go with Kyle Trask, because if they were, why not keep Leftwich? Now, basically, if you're going to go with Trask, he's going to have another system that he's going to have to learn at the end of the day. So for me, it makes more sense to bring back Brady under a Bill O'Brien system and then take your chances with that offensive line, which, again, can be retooled. We know Jason Light over there and what they can do, the magic when it comes to the cap. I could definitely see it happening. And what you're watching right now is the Sports Web on a Friday night with the over-under. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with professional handicapper extraordinaire, Mr. Harry the Greek of 1252 Chicago Sports, and the giant goofball himself, Mr. Andrew Davis. Let's go out to, I guess, somebody's calling. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, there you go. All right, well.
That's Pete. Pete, that's I don't know what it is. It's now the Legends.
Legends. I'm just curious. Who are the Bucks playing this weekend? Who are the Bucks playing this weekend? Because we're talking about the Bucks as if they're still playing.
Andrew. You know what? You know what, guys? What did Harry the Greek used to do when someone would do something? What? Goodbye.
Get him out of here.
Giants tripped over a whole bag load of water playing the Eagles this weekend. Don't try to put the water bucket in there.
Where did Andrew go? Is he going to bring in his little pussycat?
Oh, wait, where did he go?
I don't know.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, tell me about it. Ray, so
suck right there.
I'm going to ask you some questions right here. We had the Jaguars at the Chiefs. The Jags are going to be getting 5 or 6 points. Who did you like there?
You'd like to,
actually not 5 or 6. It's 9 points.
I heard you guys. I was listening to the show, and you'd like to think that there's somebody that Trevor Lawrence can win this game and Waffle House in Kansas City this time and can see that. The Chiefs are the Jaguars. The NFL has a defense to keep up with these Chiefs. The Chiefs have weak defense. Maybe catch them.
The Jaguars, I think, the Denver stops this week.
Okay, that's cool. Did you like any other games?
You guys talked about all of them already?
Which game?
The Giants and the Eagles.
Absolutely. I just gave everybody a reason why I thought that the New York Giants not only covered the spread, that they were winning.
Yes. Andrew. Oh, he went and got himself the Legends got his son.
Legends.
All right, let's see. Peter wants to talk about Gronk coming back to the Bucks. Brother, put the headphones on. Troy says, "You don't understand. Every time you're up at the Seminole Mall and you're in front of the movie theater, that creep, Troy Polamalu, he's sitting in front of Bells going, "Hey, Ray, I'm watching you."
I got news for you guys. Troy's not a heat.
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
Yeah,
That would
it's
be
probably not.
Yeah.
You identify him as
Ooh.
what?
Oh, she's one of my, Rayettes.
Oh, the Rayettes. That's what it is. Buffalo and Cincinnati will go to the wire. You know what? I think it's going to be an extremely good game. David Mosier, hey, David, they were talking earlier about Aaron Donald might leave the Rams. That would be a nice pickup to drop Akeem Hicks and put Donald next to the big number 50. You're dreaming. They can't have that kind of money. You better stay with Akeem Hicks. And you know what? Aaron Donald is a better player, Ray.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to tell you, for the money, you're not beating it. You're not beating what Akeem Hicks actually brings to the table. Not for the money.
Pete, did you see the text tonight that they were saying that if
Sean Payton is the guy, if Tepper, the owner of the the Carolina Panthers, hires Sean Payton, and Sean Payton would also possibly like to get Tom Brady up there, and like they had to try to do last year in Miami, but he'll make it work this year in Carolina. And when I saw that post, the first thing I'm thinking is, I hope the Bucs just stock up on all the defensive line pressure they can have, because if you want to put Tom Brady in the South up there in Carolina, Todd Bowles and this Buccaneers defense is going to make life hell for Mr. Tom Patrick Brady.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know, but again, I kind of doubt the Saints giving up Sean Payton for less than a first-round pick. I would think multiple, and then you give him up to a division rival. It doesn't seem to make sense to me at all.
Pete, as luck would have it, the Carolina.
We can't hear you.
You hear us?
Yeah, now you can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pete.
Yes.
Good, Ray.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Ray?
Go ahead, Ray.
Can you hear me, Pete?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
As luck would have it, the Carolina Panthers have an extra first-round pick because they acquired it in the trade with McCaffrey out to the 49ers. Now, it's going to be a low, high 20s or maybe a 30, but that would be a first-round pick that the Carolina Panthers might offer to those Saints for a Sean Payton, for something the Saints know they're not going to get anything for if they don't take a trade.
Yeah, I mean, again, anything is possible. I don't see the Saints giving him up in the division rival, but it's, to me, Denver more likely.
That was a second pick, second-round pick, third-round pick, fourth-round pick.
I was muted.
That's why.
Now you can hear it better.
And then,
can you hear me now?
You guys sound like you're in a damn phone booth or something.
So tell me about, you guys already talked about
Giants Eagles game. I like
Superman.
True.
I'm
not just trying to get lucky. I'm trying to get lucky with playoffs, but is Jim
playoffs?
This game? The Eagles had a week off. The Giants are playing gritty. But Andrew, you're the Giants guy. Tell me how this Giants defense can make life hell for Mr. Jalen Hurts and those Philadelphia Eagles this weekend.
Well, one key is going to be Azeez Ojulari, who's been a stud pass rusher for them whenever he's available, which hasn't been very often. If he's going to play, he was out with a quad injury halfway through the Viking game, and he's still questionable. But you still have, at that point, Kayvon Thibodeau, the Snow Angel himself, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. And as we talked about earlier, the secondary is now finally whole again. Having Dory Jackson out there, having Xavier McKinney back. This Giants defense is playing much, much better since the two secondary guys came back there. This is a totally different team than we went against the Eagles the first time. And keep in mind, the second time we played the Eagles, we had our third-string quarterback in as a favor, basically, and played backups, and they barely beat us.
All right.
Okay. I got a comment that's coming in from David Mosier. He says, I keep hearing you say what Hicks brings to the table, and truthfully, besides here and there, in a couple of games, you get some green shit. This is the year overall. I think that the Bears would waste. I mean, they wasted a lot of money this year, but now you know why Chicago let them go. That's a great observation. Unfortunately, he did get hurt, but statistics are statistics when it comes to particular players playing. Peter, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Please correct Mr. David Mosier. What happens when Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea plays?
6-1, and they're holding teams under 89 yards rushing a game when one of those players is missing, and they're 2-8, and you're giving up 120 yards. So I don't
repeat that again, Peter, please.
It goes from 89 to 120 yards when one of those players are missing. So yeah, I get it. He got hurt, but he definitely made an impact, and I still think the Bucs will have to retool that. Even though they drafted a Logan Hall, who may be a defensive end hybrid who didn't really show up, you go in the draft and maybe possibly get another defensive tackle. if you're not comfortable with Akeem Hicks. And, of course, Nacho is a free agent. So, at the end of the day, there's definitely a major difference when Hicks and Vay are in the game at the end of the day.
And this is not a knock on your throat, Jets, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to choose which of those two interior defensive linemen you're going to go with in 2023, I think Akeem Hicks is probably a little bit ahead. And I love Nacho, but let's be honest, what Hicks brings to the table with this Buccaneers defensive line.
It's not even close. Akeem Hicks is one of the premier pass rushers for a big man in the National Football League for 5 straight years. He was the only one he was behind with pressures from that particular position. It was to Aaron Donald, and it was even pretty close. And people don't realize that. That's not why Chicago let him go. Chicago let him go because he was constantly being injured. And when they were letting Khalil Mack go, they had intentions on letting Robert Quinn go. They were retooling this team. They had to be able to get as much as they possibly could. And that was the reason why. David, I appreciate, and believe me, David's a very intelligent guy when it comes to football. But I think he even has to probably take that comment back because, hey, man, you win that many games. It's not coincidental, Ray.
No.
It's not coincidental. I'm going to tell you right now, he was tenfold better than Ndamukong Suh, Mr. Donkey Kong himself. Are you kidding me?
Donkey Kong.
Well, David also said so unless Hicks has somebody to help him, Hicks has somebody to help him, himself ain't worth nothing. Let's be honest. You had Warren Sapp here at the 3 technique, but you also had a Simeon Rice on the outside, or you had a James Canada coming inside. So, I mean, we're just talking about the fact that, you may be the stud on the defensive line, but you also do need complementary pieces so you can extend and show off what you're worth.
You're absolutely correct, because even when Akeem Hicks was playing with Chicago, he always had a real stud defensive end.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. He had his best game. He had his best season in his career when Khalil Mack missed 3/4 of the season. Are you nuts, David?
And David.
Really? You really just think about what you're saying right there. You better pray that he stays on this team for next year, because you know what? The odds of him actually being healthy next year could be very significant. And I'll tell you right now, I would take him right back to Chicago this year just for his veteran leadership, because, man, they got the chance of picking up 2 of the biggest defensive studs in the draft this year. Can you imagine that? Oh, my God. Jalen Carter, and what's the kid's name from Alabama?
Will Anderson.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine Anderson? You know what? And this is my dream scenario for the Bears, right? The Bears trade to Houston, the team that gave them the first-round pick?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they trade with Indianapolis. Okay. So hold on. So they move to 3, or let's just say they go to 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the first 3 picks are who? Quarterback. And hold on. And then the Bears get Will Anderson and
Jalen Carter.
And Jalen Carter. Are you crazy?
You're already seeing that trend because the Bears at number 1
It's the hottest story, even as we
not even past this playoffs. Playoffs! But they're talking about the fact
playoffs.
Are the Bears going to look to get a quarterback? Do they use the number 1 overall pick? Come on, you guys. Let's be serious.
I love it.
Troy Polamalu is giving a whole bunch of little funny faces. David Mosier says, but we are in the NFL. Means that we have you done for me lately, and lately he ain't really doing nothing. What's the best ability is availability, and he's been hurt the last few years. You're absolutely correct.
Donovan Smith come into this conversation.
I know.
It's definitely a fair point, and the Bucs are going to have that opportunity to look at everything because he is a free agent, and of course they have some big decisions to make. But at the end of the day, it does come down to availability. And once again, to put the point out there, when he's available, this Bucs defense is different.
And you know what? I got to give a shout out before I forget. There's a former boss of mine, an executive with the Bridgestone Group, Mr. Matthew Hoskins. He lost his father last night or today. I haven't really sent any condolences left. Matt, I know you watched the show, but I've been thinking about you all day. I'll tell you what, buddy, I lost my dad 10, 11 years ago. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. But just know that I'm thinking about you, buddy, and so are a lot of other people. And I hope your family's going to be pretty blessed. But you know what? You do have football this weekend, and I'm sure you still like to watch it, Matt. I hope everything goes good for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, you guys, are you wrapping the show up already?
I'm going to wrap the show up.
Hold on a minute. You said the Chiefs. We talked about the Chiefs, the Eagles and the Giants. So, the Bengals, right? So Alex Kappa's injured. They lose their left tackle this week. Is there any way, guys? Where'd you fall on? I didn't catch it. The Bengals and the Bills. Where we fall on this one?
I like the over.
Over.
Yeah, I like the over too. He brings up a great point, though.
No, I didn't go to all pass on the team. I honestly thought that Cincinnati would cover the points, if not win the game, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with the over. I don't think either defense is going to be able to play as well as what they're showing, right?
Yeah.
Shootout.
No, I agree.
Shootout.
Yeah. So it's the under on the Cowboys or under on the Niners and the Cowboys, but it's the over on the Bengals and the Bills.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Andrew, we're going to wrap it up. So, Mr. Andrew Davis, tell everybody where they can find you, except over at MetLife Stadium.
Something. I was there during some of the games we had this season. I really wish I was in Philly tomorrow. That's the big thing. But yes, I'm a co-host of Two Giant Goofballs, New York Giants podcast, available on literally every podcast platform pretty much there is to man. We also do also live feeds on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well, and also available on TikTok as well. So give us a like, give us a follow. We're also going to be going probably live after the game tomorrow night as well, too. So if you are a Giant fan, football fan, whatever, take a listen.
Peter?
Yeah, it's the evolution of Sports Talk Television on Monday and Wednesday night on I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports in the Hub. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Do three things. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And sports fans out there of the Sports Web and the over-under, it's your time.
Tamp.
Son of a bitch, Pete. I
I
wanted
wanted
to
to
tell
tell
you
you how much I wanted you to shave that beard, but you know what? It's grown on me so much. I'm glad it came back. It's not so much. It wasn't so much a victory playoff beard for the Buccaneers, although you carried it. Maybe we'll keep it now for the Lightning as they go for that Stanley Cup here in 2023. But you're looking good, brother. So
thanks, man.
Let me come on tonight, brother.
Ray, tell everybody where they can find you.
So where can? No, seriously, where can they find you, buddy?
On the Sports Web, on Amped Up Sports,
on the
a cup of Ray. I'm on the corner over here with my mom.
He's on the corner.
But yeah, no, I just
You know.
always talk to
And having a good time, brother.
You know what? I always got to tell everybody, I really appreciate everybody tuning into the over-under on the Sports Web, 1252 Sports, and all the other platforms that it's on there. I always say, I'd rather be lucky than good. Ray, what you're saying always?
keep your
Bet slow because your winnings high.
Never mind. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Keep your bets low and your returns high. I'm your host, Harry the Greek, giving you something to think about, not talk about, because that's what we do here on the Sports Web.
Enjoy this weekend. I mean, honestly, next to championship weekend, which is next weekend, this is divisional round playoff football, and your team might not be in it. Andrew, yours is, but the Bears aren't.
Whoa!
Enjoy this.
That's
football.
the Jersey State Bird there.
There you go, brother.
And Peter, do us a favor.
Peter, do us a favor. Send us out with some Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you.
Everybody.
Go Giants. That's for you, Andrew.
For Mr. Ray Kennedy,
Go
best
G-Men.
of the Bay. Down here, the G-Man himself, Mr. Andrew Davis from Two Giant Goofballs, and Mr. Peter Blake from the Sports Web. I'm your host, Harry the Greek. Thank you so much for tuning into the Over-Under on the Sports Web on 1252 Sport. Have a good evening, everybody.